Welcome to Contemplation with Wendy. My name is Wendy Enloe, and I'm the Director of Adult Faith Formation here at Our Lady of the Holy Rosary Catholic Church. And today, again, we will be looking at the upcoming Sunday Gospel and using Ignatian contemplation to pray with the Gospel and enter into the scene, to look at what's happening, use our imagination, and use our senses to discover, what it was like to be there with Jesus in the gospel reading. And hopefully this will help you with your prayer. So I invite you to get comfortable and just listen and just use your imagination to see what it's like to be there and to listen to Jesus telling this gospel story. So in this gospel story, it's the parable of the wedding feast. And Jesus is speaking to the Pharisees and the chief priest. And he tells them that the kingdom of heaven is like a king who is throwing a wedding feast for his son. And so you are there with the king. You approach the king's home and you enter through this huge door and you go in and the servant invites you in and you look around and there's beautiful marble everywhere, gold, it's sparkling, and it's just so beautiful, the most beautiful home that you've ever seen. And the servant brings you into the king. And the king has other servants who are there, and he's giving them instructions. He's preparing for this feast for his son. And the king is so excited. He is joyful. He is ready for this feast. He is, you can just see the twinkle in his eyes. He is so ready for this celebration. So you hear him tell the servants to go out, invite those on the guest list to the wedding feast. So you go along with the servants. You go from home to home, knocking on their doors to invite them to this feast that the king is giving. And as you go, you can see cars in the driveway. You knock on the door, but you go from home to home. Many people don't even answer the door, even though it looks like they may be home. But you do go to one door, and a gentleman answers the door. The owner's there, and you tell them who you are, and the servant gives him the invitation from the king. And the owner looks at the invitation, he listens to the servant, and he says, well, I'm not sure we can make it. We're really, really busy this weekend. We have lots going on. So you thank him and, ask him to reconsider and move on. And after you've gone through the whole guest list, you return back to the king with the servant. The king's kind of disappointed. So he says, he'd ask you to go back out again. He says, tell him, I have this rich feast planned and, the food is cooking. It's almost ready. And you notice, you stop and you smell and you look around and it's like, oh yeah, I could smell the boiled seafood, the rich gumbo, just the sweet desserts, just the smells are overwhelming you. And you get excited too for this feast that's coming up. So that you follow along with the servant, you go back out. You go to more homes. You go to a different neighborhood this time on the guest list, and you invite more people. You go to one house, and a woman answers the door, and you describe the food and how wonderful it's going to be. And again, she, when she opens the door, she looks kind of weary. She looks tired. You can tell that she hasn't had much sleep. And she just, explains to you that she's really busy. She has a demanding job and several kids, and they're really busy. And she just doesn't think she's going to have time to make it. But she appreciates the offer. And so you and the servant go on to the next home. And this time, before you even get to the door, you hear a guy yelling and screaming at you. And you don't know what's going on, so you just decide to leave. And you go back and tell the king, and he's furious. So he sends other people out to reprimand this guy. We're not sure what happens there, but you go before the king again, and you say, we've invited everybody. We have no one else on our list. And so the king says, well, just go out again and just invite anybody. If they look good or look, they may have tattoos or look, kind of disheveled. We'll give them clothes to wear. Just invite anybody. So you follow the servant again. You go out and, you go to the parking lot at the Walmart and the shopping centers. You invite everyone. You go to the convenience store, the bank, the post office, any place you can find people gathering, and you invite them to the banquet. And some people really look like they're interested, so you invite them too. You go to the Full of Grace Cafe and you invite those people, and you and the servant come back, and the servants are there giving out some nice clothes to wear to the wedding feast, some wedding garments that are really, really gorgeous things that you've, you don't have those in your closet, but you take one anyway. And you go into the banquet hall, and there everyone is that you invited this last time, and they're all enjoying the feast. And you go over and sit to the side, and you look down, and you notice that you still have your regular clothes on, and you're still holding the wedding garments that the servants gave you. And as you look down, you're just wondering, why didn't I put these clothes on? And as you look up, you notice that the king is walking towards you, and you feel kind of uncomfortable as he walks towards you. But you look up at him, and he has a gentle look, and he says, I noticed that you don't have your wedding garments on. You didn't put on the clothes that we gave you to join the feast. And you say, yeah, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to put these clothes on. And the king explains. He says, if you want to put the clothes on, if you want to join the feast, then you have to get rid of the things that are holding you back. You have to let go of the anger, the resentment, the envy, the jealousy, the ways you try to control your life. You have to put them aside, and then you can enjoy life. You can enjoy the banquet. The servants come by, and until you're ready to put those things aside, you'll have to wait outside in the dark. And when you're ready, you can take those things and leave them behind and put on the garment and join the feast with us. And so you think about that. Just spend a few moments thinking about the things that are holding you back from the kingdom of heaven, from the feast that God wants to give to you. And after you've thought about that for a while, you realize you're back with Jesus and the Pharisees and the chief priest. And you hear Jesus tell them, many are invited, but few are chosen.